Some folks say there are just too many of us. We push and we shove and we grab for a little more money, a little more space. And we just end up with an ulcer and a bigger mortgage. But there's a lot of land out there, beautiful, unspoiled hills that undulate out of the high plains and then rise majestically to form the nation's backbone, the Rockies. Here there are no crowds, except for the crowds of flowers and aspen trees and the sound of silence that almost hurts your ears. That sound is not native to these mountains. It's the sound of the Jeep, that four-wheel drive beauty that's opened up the high country to thousands of Americans, and that has spawned a breed of man who's learned to combine the piston engine with nature's finest works and find compatibility. He comes to the high country to escape, and in his quest for escape, the four-wheel drive man learned long ago that if this wonder work of nature is to be enjoyed to its fullest, it must remain unspoiled. We're headed toward a point near Salida, Colorado. There, four-wheel drive enthusiasts from 30 states and Canada will gather for what is called All-For-Fun Week, a week that will see controlled competition, exploring, and just plain fun. All that, plus a lot of hard work that is somehow fun to the thing that has replaced the Army mule. In Washington Smithsonian, the original Jeep rests alongside the Spirit of St. Louis and the Hope Diamond. The father of the Jeep is now content to play tennis in his famed Racket Club of Miami, and there he reminisces about the good old days. He's Roy Evans, who once owned a small automobile manufacturing concern and who had the guts to take on the challenge of developing a cross-country vehicle. The Army realized it needed something that could go anywhere, anytime. The Jeep. Now over 700,000 Jeeps and its four-wheel drive cousins ply the superhighways and city streets of this country. There's no asphalt up here, no congestion, no stoplights. We're headed through some of the 12,000 miles of trail that abound in the Rockies. It'll be man and machine against the mountain. And every driver knows the odds. Nature will provide him with beautiful scenery, will challenge his ability and his four-wheel drive vehicle, and probably win. His job is to have fun, but not to tamper with nature along the way, to invade it, to leave it unspoiled and unchanged for those who come later. And that challenge will be his greatest. The campers are gathered at the Ponderosa Guest Ranch, nestled near the Continental Divide just outside the town of Salida. They came pulling their house trailers. Some stayed in tents. And there's this one fellow who really sought out the seclusion of the Rockies. The regular guests of this pasture didn't seem to mind, though they preferred the issue on Secretariat. This was gold country, and you cannot cross it without running into old mines that might have been a glory hole, but wasn't. nor can you cross it without thinking of those who came before. When gold fever was infesting the brains of Ohio farmers and Vermont stone cutters or New York merchants, this all seemed so easy. Nuggets of gold just out here waiting to be picked up. And so they came by the thousands. And they brought everything needed to exist until they found that mother lode. Imagine, if you can, how it would be to cross these mountains in a covered wagon. In some areas, the wagons had to be dismantled and lifted piece by piece, or lowered into gorges where the trail might pick up. You know, some of those trails are still visible today. Men and women of the Mile High Jeep Club know them like the back of their hand. The area near the divide abounds with pioneer trails that are haven for four-wheel drive enthusiasts. As soon as the snow has gone from the high country and the trails are passable, the sponsors of All-For-Fun Week were up here getting those trails back in shape. This fallen tree had blocked one of the major trails and it had to be moved. And that's where the ever-present winch came into play. That little machine that is so much a part of the fun of four-wheeling will make a tough job easy. A snatch block is rigged to the tree, but only after other fallen branches and logs are set up as padding to protect that living tree.
You like it? There you go. Got a log over there?
Let it.
Need a little slack? All right.
Can put one back here, too. Okay, Mike, pick up the stick.
You got your stick in there?
Yep.
All right. Just a second. Hang on. All right. Wait a minute. Let me get this. Okay.
A line from the winch goes through the block and to the dead log.
I'll have to feed that food to you, Eric. A little bit more.
You get it?
Yeah, pull
Okay.
the slack over the top, Lee. Okay.
Okay, we're set then.
Yeah.
Get it going.
The second Jeep is chained to the first to make it the dead man.
Okay, take her back, Mike. Good.
And with the push of a button, nothing is disturbed, and the trail is open. Before this week unfolded, the four-wheelers were up here scouting out the trails, the flowers, the rivers to set the fun up. And on one such trip, they brought along some friends. Denver's handicapped. Men and women who see the mountains only from the windows of their homes. Some of them don't see them at all. The lame, the blind, the old are lovingly loaded into Jeeps and taken on tours. And words or pictures cannot possibly express the joy of the experience. Thanks to trails laid down by the pioneers, the handicapped, who will never be able to backpack through nature's wonders, see it close up. Four-wheelers from all over the country are getting ready to head up toward the divide. Each will have a map, and an expert on the trail will ride point, with another riding shotgun, bringing up the rear. Two-way citizen band radios keep everybody in touch. And when the trail boss says go,
Just roll them out.
they're away on an 8-hour safari through the Rockies. In the beginning, the roadbed is smooth and good, and you take in the scenery and point out the sights to the kids. Then the leader squawks through the radio that it's time to stop and lock the hubs. The hard climbing is coming up. It's a simple move to convert the four-wheeler from its conventional road travel mode to four-wheel. Just a twist of the hub to lock it off is all you need to get the pull and the power that'll take you just about any place. In this case, any place is through No Name Creek, to a place that history forgot, North Star. It boomed here once. Word spread to Denver that there was more precious ore here than just about anywhere. And they came. The miners, the storekeepers, the saloon men, the camp followers, and they built a town. They gave it a name because it was so close to that fabled star that gave guidance to many, and they settled down to watch the money roll in. But the holes in the ground yielded less ore and more plain old rocks. And before long, the rumor spread of a new strike just over the ridge. And North Star died. Few were left to mourn its passing, but behind in the cemetery of North Star are people who died in explosions or in the fever of broken dreams that bring on broken hearts. And today they're kept company only by the wind and the rustle of the trees and the creaking of rotting boards that are left to the cruel Colorado winters. You can get here by four-wheel vehicles, but that's about the only way. And to the young who look out in wonder, it's an eerie place. No wonder they call them ghost towns. This is a place for a lunch stop, and a more beautiful spot for a picnic has ever been found. Food just sort of tastes better up here. And if you're concerned about a lack of togetherness in your family, maybe you should consider buying a Jeep. Policing the area. The kids might give it a less romantic name like picking up the litter, but it's an important part of the day. The aim is to leave North Star exactly as they found it, so it takes a half an hour longer. For the next people who drive up, it'll be well worth it. Along the way, someone spotted the thing mountain people fear the most: smoke. Forest fires trying to get started off in the distance. Four-wheel drive enthusiasts are not firefighters by profession, but they know what to do when they see smoke up here.
KGW 9644 base. This is KDO 4724.
This is KGW 9644.
I got a fire up here.
What's your 1020?
My 1020 is just above the old town of Mount Chavanoff.
I'll call Forest Rangers immediately.
10-4.
KWG 9644.
I'm not sure, but it's possible the Forest Service people reached that baby fire by using a route once closed to vehicles in the high country, but that is now open, thanks to the work of four-wheel drive clubs who saw the necessity of building a bridge. The area is a bog, and it will not support any kind of rock fill, so a log bridge, constructed much like a railroad track, is the only answer. After securing permission of the authorities, the bridge was built. Now, that took a lot of weekends and vacations, and the whole family pitched in. This kind of work is hard at high altitudes, and the second shift stands by waiting to go in relief. Logs cut from specified areas are jeeped up to the bridge area, and the necessary repairs are made annually to keep it open. All that work for a road bed that blends in with the environment and opens the trail to even higher ground.
I just dropped it.
Just a word or two about this breed of modern man and woman. If there's anything they love more than the Jeep, it's the mountains. Around the garage, when they tinker with their machines, at their club meetings or informal talks, the conversation centers on the mountains, the trails, the streams to be crossed. They mention areas of those mountains with a tone of voice that suggests pure love. They're modern men in ultra-modern machines, going back in time to see the world as it must have looked at its creation. Clean, pure, and in some places foreboding. Rather than invade the mountains, they become engulfed in them. And the most important thing to them is not the defeat of the trail. It's knowing that the trail will be there for them to challenge next month or next year when they return. Search and rescue is one of the most important jobs of members of the Mile High Jeep Club and others like it. They're ready to help the authorities whenever they're called upon. Sometimes there's complicated searching through rough country. Other times it's a relatively simple thing like helping a climber in trouble.
KRE 0700, this is KGC 0715. This is an emergency. Do you copy?
This is KRE 0700. I copy. Go ahead.
Yes, there's a climber in trouble just on Tamichi Pass, and we're about 2 miles below on the Tamichi Road. Could you send the rescue team in here as soon as possible?
10-4. I will attempt to do so and advise immediately. Stand by.
This is KGC 0715, I copy. Very good. We'll be standing here and waiting for your arrival. This is KGC 0715, clear.
First aid training is a part of the activities of outings like these. The young and the old must know how to handle a broken bone just as well as they handle a Jeep, because no matter how careful you are, things can go wrong up here. And though it seldom happens, four-wheel drive enthusiasts find the old Boy Scout motto of "be prepared" is the best answer. But it's not all work and no play up here. And if you happen to remember to bring along some fly rods, there's nothing to compare with the fishing. The water is cold and fast, and the rainbows may be the best game fish in North America. Catching one obviously is a thrill, even if you've caught hundreds in a lifetime of coming to the streams of Colorado. Up past the timberline, they find some snow. It's there all the time in this country, and it gives three of the more adventuresome of the group a chance to do some sledding, or skiing down the hill, sans skis. Now, it's certainly a quick way to get down from a half-hour hike, but with all those stones sticking up through the snow, it is not recommended as the most comfortable way down. Another stop is at the old Alpine Tunnel. It was built by 10,000 men who worked 18 months to bore a tunnel through that mountain, 28 years later, it was abandoned. And the Mile High Jeep Club has restored one of the few remaining railroad water towers near the tunnel, a historic reminder of what things used to be like in the high country of another day. We're back at the camp now for some of the fun of All-For-Fun Week. Games in four-wheel drive vehicles that test your driving ability and your partner's ability to do simple little tasks. People work hard, they play hard, and now they relax to talk of things they know and love best, their Jeeps, their mountains. Families here know what it's like to invade nature's domain. They know the dangers and the rewards. They know a lot that some of us locked up in cities could stand to learn. And they want to keep these mountains clean, pure, and unspoiled for generations to come. And you know, if anybody can do that, it's these folks.